Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. And before we get into tonight's agenda, we have a couple of public hearings. So we will recess our regular meeting and move into public hearings. First one is non-stat. Thank you. I was reading lips. Non-statutory public hearing on the Heritage Hill Stage 2 Neighbourhood Plan Amendment. Good evening.
Good evening. All right. So good evening again, Mayor and members of Council. Tonight I'm before you to present an amendment to the Heritage Hills Stage 2 Neighbourhood Plan for its required non-statutory public hearing. So this map is just meant to provide a bit of area context. So you'll see the community of Heritage Hills through the majority of the map. You can see the Ag Society lands down in this corner. Highway 1A, Horse Creek Road, Township Road 262. And then another area of focus here tonight will be Range Road 43. So this goes up past the Baptist Seminary to the gas plant. This is the intersection with Highway 22 that is immediately across from the access into the ranch house. And another important thing to note on this map is this parcel here. So this is the plan 9010954 block 6 that we're going to talk about a bit in this presentation too. So the main area of focus for this presentation tonight is Township Road 262 between Horse Creek Road and Range Road 43. So this block 6 parcel that I had mentioned, the owner of this parcel was essentially somewhat driving the neighborhood plan application back in 2016 on behalf of the other area landowners. And Township Road 262 is currently a rural standard gravel road and is within the town of Cochrane boundaries. The typical expectation with these types of roads is that when an adjacent development occurs, the adjacent portion of that road is upgraded by that developer. When considering adoption of the neighborhood plan in 2016, understanding that the frontage along 262 consisted of various parcels owned by various landowners, you have one parcel here, one here, one here, one here, and then a separate one over here. And likely all these parcels were going to be developed at different times. Council did express concern with the potential that 262 would be upgraded in pieces and not all at once as development proceeded, and also likely not early in the development process of those adjacent lands. So in response to these concerns, when adopting the neighborhood plan, Council did make a motion to add Appendix G to that neighborhood plan. So Appendix G stated that the landowner of Plan 9010954 Block 6, Northeast 92645 and Southeast 92645 be required to construct the undeveloped south half containing 2 full lanes of Township Road 262 for the area between Horse Creek Road and Range Road 43 as part of their Phase 1 subdivision. Endeavors to assist as appropriate would apply for future development. So as I mentioned, the owners of that Block 6 parcel were somewhat driving the neighborhood plan application on behalf of the other landowners, and it was expected that they would be moving forward with their development relatively soon after the adoption of the neighborhood plan. Therefore, it was felt that this would be the most effective way to ensure that 262 would be upgraded all at one time and early in the development process. So fast forward to 2019, and you'll see that the landowner of that Block 6 parcel, again right here, has not actually moved forward with development. However, other lands adjacent to 262 in the western portion of Heritage Hills have developed. Due to Appendix G in the neighborhood plan, 262 upgrades have not yet occurred as the Block 6 lands have not yet begun development. Agreements were entered into with the developer of the lands to the west that they would pay back their portion of the upgrades to the party that did construct it. There have also been some other potential changes to the area since 2016 and the approval of the neighborhood plan, and that includes the announcement of the 22-1A intersection upgrade. And there is a potential that with the land needed for ramps and accesses, that the Range Road 43 and Highway 22 intersection may need to close. This would mean that traffic accessing the Baptist Seminary, scan over here. So this may have to close. So anything accessing the Baptist Seminary, the gas plant further north, as well as just any area residences as well, would then need to travel instead down Highway 1A, up Horse Creek Road, down Township Road 262 to continue going north on Range Road 43. In addition, with Rocky View School Division proposing a high school and the town looking at the Horse Creek Sports Park on the annexation quarter to the north, increased traffic will be accessing the area, and some of it will be using Township Road 262. So these changes, combined with increased traffic beyond what was contemplated in the traffic impact assessment that was completed with the Heritage Hills Neighbourhood Plan, would likely mean that the changes to the timing as to when the upgrades would be required. In an effort to have the upgrades to 262 begin sooner, administration would like to have council consider removing Appendix G from the neighbourhood plan. I'd just like to be clear that removing this appendix would not mean that the entire road would be upgraded sooner, but the eastern portion would still have to be dependent on the eastern landowner moving forward with development. However, it would allow administration to work with the landowners in the western portion of the community to at least have upgrades begin in the western sections. The proposed amendment was circulated to the adjacent landowners who would be affected by this change, namely those landowners or developers that would be impacted by this. Administration did not receive any comments back on the proposed amendment from the circulation. Administration also presented the proposed amendment to the Cochrane Planning Commission. The Cochrane Planning Commission commented that they felt that the proposed amendment did make sense. These are just a couple of the photos of Township Road 262, so you can see the current road gravel standard that the road is constructed to. So with that, administration is recommending that council does receive and consider all comments and information presented during the non-statutory public hearing for the Heritage Hills Stage 2 Neighbourhood Plan Amendment.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Council, any questions? I have one. If you can go back to the map. Yeah, so when you say western portions, what is the anticipated first western portion that would be developed?
So through the chair, we were working to get this amendment potentially made to the neighborhood plan before this parcel that we had recently been talking to with land use before that came forward for subdivision. We are in negotiations with that developer as well as Harmony Park, who does own the other two pieces, basically to negotiate how far that would go. So it's not determined quite yet at this point, but the expectation is that we would, hopefully get to at least the end of this parcel and maybe a little bit more, but still in negotiation.
Okay, thank you. There's no other questions? Now, I understand there's no speakers list. Is there anyone in the gallery that wishes to speak for or against the public hearing item we have in front of us? Everyone's looking around? Nope. Okay, we will close that public hearing then. Thank you. Move to public hearing number 2. After we have a TV timeout,